Record. So let's find a moment to let yourself come into a place of good posture, where you are able to ground and steady yourself. Can you feel as you close your eyes, or maybe you have your eyes open, but as you settle into posture, can you let the world kind of suspend itself around you? All the things on the to-do list, all the things that wake you up in the night and worry. See if you can just allow your mind to kind of waterfall, to have that sense of the mind kind of tethering into the breath, so that you can let the body mind kind of be the primary source of your awareness instead of just the thinking mind. The breath is such a beautiful tool for us because it's always present, and it's something that's breathing and living in the body. So we can attune our mind to it to help us um, rest the mind within the awareness of breath. So see what that feels like to rest the mind within the breath. And oftentimes in the beginning of practice, it's kind of hard to do this. It's hard to take a racing mind and harness it. So just do the best you can and notice what's happening. Feeling into a sense of ease as you exhale. Kind of try to let the exhales be a little bit longer. Feel as if it's just like, a breaking shoreline where it got that long rolling wave instead of a big crash of a wave, something that takes a long time. If it helps you to count to make the exhales longer than the inhale, then by all means have a metronome inside your head counting. You can also perceive this without counting, just stretching the exhales longer. Notice if you are getting it all short of breath, when you take time to let the exhales elongate. Sometimes we can do a little too much where suddenly we're gulping for the next breath in. So modulate this as best as you can where you feel neutrality, that there's not this sense of need for the next breath, but just a nice, gentle, like, yay, here comes the inhale again. Not something panicky or driven by a deep need. Enjoy the inhales as well. Sometimes for me, if I breathe out through pursed lips, this helps me slow down and relax a little bit more instead of breathing out through the nose. Whatever works for you, but try to let the inhale be through the nose if you can. Of course, it's allergy season, so if you're all stuffed up, go with your secondary pathway of your mouth, but if you can, use your primary pathway of your nose. Enjoy the sound of your breath. Try to unlock any bounds that are tightening around the inhale or the exhale. So pay attention to the sinuses and the nose and the throat and the muscles around your throat and neck and the diaphragm and the rib cage and the way the sternum and collarbones feel. Just kind of experience all the aperture of the breath and notice if there's any places where you have a bind that could be loosened. Not to worry if this is challenging, if you're like, "Ooh, my brain is just still on fire," that's okay. Let your practice unfold for you, nice and slowly, patiently. So let's bring our palms together now. Bring your awareness into your breath, into the state where your mind, your breath, your heart, your hands all kind of unify. And place here an intention for you. What will help you feel stable, at ease, steady in your mind, not on the offensive or defensive, able to open yourself to new possibilities, being able to see beauty, being able to connect. What is it that you need today? Let's release your hands and find your way onto your back. All right, so as you stretch out onto your spine, make sure you have your props with you. And something so simple as taking a moment to lie down can be a gift in and of itself. If you've been doing a lot already today, maybe you haven't done a lot already today, maybe you have, but just notice what, when you woke up this morning, what was the state of your mind? Did you have joy? Did you have sadness? Did you have worry? Did you have frustration? What is the predominant prevailing winds? And then let's stretch your arms overhead and let's see if we can feel into our body movement here. And as you stretch one side and then the other side, notice if even something as very simple as this can shift your mind space. Find your breathing. And when you're ready, bring your knees into your chest and let's rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. All right, hang on to your knees and let's circle, kind of rolling in one direction. Full breaths. Rolling in another direction. Let's move in the third direction. Knees opening up and coming back. And just checking in. How are your hips? How is your back today? And then put your feet on the ground. Bring your hands straight up towards the sky. We're going to do just a little protraction and retraction of the shoulder blades. So reach your hands up, 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 so your shoulders feel like they spread apart and lift. And then plug your upper arms down into the ground through your shoulder joints, feeling that grounding. And just go back and forth a couple times where we reach up and then root down, reach up and root down. And then stretch your arms overhead again. And this time, interlace your hands, press your palms away from your head if you can. So we have a little bit different position in the shoulders. Reach and lengthen. And then we're going to straighten our legs one more time and feel that long space through the spine. And then release your arms down. Grab onto your right knee. Give it a good squeeze. Let's open up our feet. Move around your ankles. Wiggle your toes. Every time you come into a new sensation in the body, let's revel in it and be fully present for it. Notice your breath. Okay. We're going to take this into a twist. Hold on to the right knee. Let's cross it over the body. Stretch open through the right side of your chest. Turn your head to the right if it feels good. And, play around with a different position for your arm, a different angle of your knee, wherever, however close or far it is from the ground. Find your sweet spot where the chest gets to open here, not just the spinal twist. And then we're going to roll all the way to our left side. Bring your knees together, palms coming together. Let your back be in a neutral position instead of rounded. Let's open up like a buck. Reach your right arm open, bring it behind you, touch the ground, turn your head right, and then exhale and bring your hands back to touch. Again, one more time. Opening up
And then exhale, bringing your hands back together. Let's roll back onto our back, left knee into your chest, right leg long on the ground. Move around in your feet, wiggling toes, heavy, heavy head. Take an opportunity to breathe deeply again. And then when you're ready, cross that leg over into a twist, open up through the left side of your chest. You can also bring a block underneath your knee if that helps you kind of stabilize to see what feels good. Breathing deeply. Let this be about your chest, not just about the spinal twist. And then we're going to roll all the way to our left side. Bring your hands to touch, knees to touch, neutral spine. Inhale, open up like a book. Bring that arm behind you, turn your head. Exhale, and bring it back. One more time, opening up. Exhale, bring it back. Roll over onto your back again. Bring two knees into your chest. Pick up your head, a little snug hug. And then inhale, open to a star on the ground, wiggling your fingers and your toes, opening up. And then exhale again, drawing the knees in, head comes up. And then reach open to a star again. And then come to a neutral spine. Let's grab our strap. Take a hold of it, and let's go ahead and reach the right foot straight up in the air. Now, left foot can be on the ground, but left leg can be on the ground. So whichever feels good to you. And let's flex and point our foot in the air here. So we have a little bit of awareness of both stretching the top of your foot and the back of your heel and your Achilles. And then neutral foot. Let your head rest. Let your shoulders rest. Come back to the breath again. Feel just like we had the arm bones rooting into the ground. Let's see if we can get the femur bone to root into the ground. Can you find two movement patterns where you root, but you also reach up through your shin, through your foot, so you have this sense of moving in two directions at the same time. Opening up the hamstring. And then we're going to take that strap into our right hand, open the right leg out to the right. Again, that left leg can be knee bent, foot on the floor, or leg straight. And if your knee is bent, you can butterfly the left knee out to the left if that helps you stabilize the pelvis. Opening up through the inner groin here, feeling the head get heavy again. Every time you think of it, every time there's just a slight pause and you're kind of maneuvering your body, kind of figuring out where you are, feeling where you are, if there's a slight pause in your kind of rhythm with that, bring it into the breath. Let the pauses be about the breath. Reach that leg straight up in the air. And we're going to cross the right leg over the left. Your left leg can be straight or bent, whichever feels good. Maybe a little deeper into the twist, but maybe you're really focused on the hips. So just find what you need in this posture. Be active through your foot in the strap. Breathing well. Let your head get very heavy. Reach that leg back up in the air. One more time, coming into a hamstring stretch here, opening up, and let's pull your leg toward your chest and then away, and then toward your chest and away. So there's a little bit of movement in the stretching. And then 2 feet come up into the strap. Notice the difference between your two legs here, having opened up one leg and not yet the other. Feel the length in your spine. Relax the shoulders. And let's double-footed point and flex your feet. So 2 feet in the strap. Point up and then reach your toes down. And just enjoy a little stretch through your feet. And then take your right foot out. Left foot stays in there. Reach it up toward the sky. Root your femur bone, lift through your shin into your foot, bilateral. So or not bilateral, but bidirectional. So kind of moving your leg in two different directions. Let your head feel heavy. Your right leg can be straight or your right leg can be bent. Soft shoulders. All right, let's take this strap in our left hand now. Open your left leg out to the left, feeling that groundedness through your pelvis. Rooting your femur bone if your leg is straight. Rooting your pelvis, rooting your ribs. Ready? Let's go ahead and lift that leg straight back up. Take the strap into the other hand, cross your leg over. Breathing deeply, feeling that left femur bone root away from the shoulder, stretch through the big toe and the inner heel. Heavy, heavy head. Lift that leg straight up in the air. Hold the strap with two hands now and just have a little bit of movement where we pull our leg a little closer toward our torso and then a little further away. So we're just getting a little bit of mobility within the stretch. Release that foot. Stretch your body to a star. Open big and wide. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Draw your knees into your chest. Ground. Put your feet on the ground. Hands on the ground. We're going to do just a couple of bridge poses. Inhale, lifting your pelvis up. Arms can come up overhead if you'd like. And then lower your pelvis and your arms down. Just waking up the backside of your body a little bit, feeling your glutes and your hamstrings activate now. Root into your feet well, feel your heels, feel your toes. And you can choose to lift your arms overhead and back down or not. So just find the pathway that feels good to you. Lifting up again. And lowering down. We're going to do a little bit of movement in the pelvis now. So lift your right hip up first, followed by the left. And then the right hip comes down first, followed by the left. Two more passes. Right hip lifts, followed by the left. Right hip lowers, followed by the left. One more time. Hip up, follow. Right hip down, follow. Relax your pelvis on the ground, change directions. Left hip up, right hip follows, left hip down, right hip follows. All right, so just kind of feeling a little bit of mobility through our pelvis, kind of turning on a lot of muscles around our hips. Breathing deeply. Let's do one more. And then relax. Take the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall out to the sides. You might need some blocks underneath your outer knees. Have a moment to just experience a bit of Supta Konasana. We're going to come back into this posture in a while. And then come back around, rolling to your side and come up to your hands and knees. All right, so let's move into some cat-cows. So as we start to, we've done a lot of work to open our legs and our hips. Now let's kind of travel upward and turn this into opening our spine. So as you move through some cat-cows, enjoy and also notice if there's any tenderness, if there's places where you need to care for yourself. Then again, if you need any or want any mobility, it doesn't have to just follow flexion and extension. You can kind of roll around in your ribs and move through your hips and your head. We're going to do some rib rolls in just a moment, all of us together. But first, just feel into all the snake-like movements that your body's capable of. Feel the grounding of your hands. Maybe the elbows want to bend. Maybe the toes want to curl under. Just find your way into your breathing. And then stretch back towards child's pose. Walk the hands out in front of you and feel that reach of your shoulders. Ground down through your hands. Feel the index finger mounds have a little weight so you're not just leaning into the outer hands. And then soften that a little bit, and we're going to come bringing our arms over to one side. So feeling that reach through one side of the body, drop your pelvis down toward your heels and open up your rib. And then come back to center and walk the hands over to the other side, feeling the ease open up through your rib cage. Keep your head as relaxed and neutral as you can. Coming back to center, come up onto all fours. Let's find a deeper twist now, reaching one arm up in the air. Exhale, slide that shoulder underneath. Enjoy this. Gaze downward, let your head be heavy. Breathe into your shoulders, your ribs, your shoulder blades, whatever you're feeling here. And then inhale, reach that arm all the way back up. Hand comes down, switching sides, arm lifting. Exhale, slide that arm underneath, gaze toward the floor, keep your neck neutral and relaxed, and feel your breath. Enjoy the ribs moving with your breathing. And then inhale, reach that arm all the way back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. And let's do some rib cage rolls here. So imagine yourself in a tube. We're going to drop our chest toward the ground, over to the left, up toward the sky, over to the right, and down. And, just try to really accentuate the volume of your rib cage here. Kind of opening up through the back ribs, the side ribs, the front ribs. Make sure your breath is along for the ride. And then change directions. Let your ribs move in the other way. You might feel that your head and your tail are following in the movement, creating their own spirals, and that's great. And then back towards child's pose one more time. Walk the hands forward. Grab your two blocks. Okay, put them short edges against each other so you have a long line with the blocks. We're going to take our elbows on the block, shoulder width apart or a little wider. Drop back towards child's pose. Stretch your triceps, thumbs toward your spine. If deep knee flexion is hard for you, you can do this standing with your elbows on your countertop or on a dresser or on a table. Opening up your triceps, feel the elongation from your elbows to your hips. All right, then let's come out of that stretch. Bring your hands back onto the ground. Hips stay high, puppy pose. Let your chest drop toward the ground. Maybe your head reaches the ground, maybe it doesn't, the hips stay high. And then come back, come on to your heels for a minute. Just give your hands a shake. We've been on the hands a bunch, so just give them a good shake before we come into dog pose. And spread out the hands again and feel that reach and length in the body. Open up through the spine, heart lifting toward the hips, pedal your feet. Give yourself an opportunity to feel the joy of this pose. rooting, rising. Inhaling, exhaling. Walking the feet forward now, come to Uttanasana, deep forward fold, let your knees bend. You can bobble the head, you can take the hands at the base of the skull and draw it down and in, whatever feels good. Inhale for a halfway lift. Get the length of your spine to open up, thigh bones moving back. Exhale and soften. Rise up, reaching the arms to the sky. Big open chest if you're dizzy. I think you know what to do by now. Okay, feel the open heart. Squeeze the back body as you cactus your chest open. And then exhale and round in, forearms come to touch. Interlace your hands again. Press your palms out. Stretch your arms straight up toward the sky. Integrate your rib cage. Find your breath. And then a big swan dive forward and fold. A halfway lift. Grow a little longer. Exhale. Melt a little deeper. Step the left foot back. Come to a lunge. Just moving through the paces of opening up all the places in your body. Let's place the back knee down onto the ground. Open up through your heart here, hands on blocks or on your leg. Feel that lift. You can lift your arms in the air if you'd like to. Just find the posture that's good for your body. We'll have a little baby twist in here. So forearm on your knee, other hand, so right hand on your thigh, left forearm on your knee, twist open and let the hip flexors stretch open. A lot of times when we experience a lot of kind of chronic stress, tension, worry, concern, fear in our body, our hip flexors can get very tight. So let's open that up. Bring breath right into the front of your left hip. And then bring your hands back to neutral. Let's come back into child's pose or just setting your hips back, and then we'll change sides. Okay, so now our left foot is going to come in front. Lift your knee off the ground. Feel that extension. Open up through the heart. And then we're going to place our knee down onto the ground. Open up across your chest. Keep the hands rooted if you want on the blocks or on your leg. Lift your arms in the air if you'd like. Just take the posture that feels right for you. Stay grounded through your foot. Full breaths. Feel that opening of the hip flexor. And then we'll take the twist here. So right forearm comes onto your thigh, left hand on your thigh. Push down into that left hand to lift through your spine. Hug to the midline with your inner thighs and just enjoy the hip flexor opening up here. Breathe well. Coming back to center, bring the hands down onto the ground. Let's find the ground. Onto your belly. Roll the shoulders a couple of times. Inhale to a cobra pose. Exhale, melting back down. Again, any back bend works. So, if you like cobra pose or maybe sphinx pose or whatever works for your body. One more time. Rising up and then lowering down. Take the blocks out of the way or anything else you have in the way. Let's bring our right knee up high toward our armpit. Feel the hip open a bit. Okay, we're going to turn this into a twist. So left arm crosses over to right and twist on open. Let the knee leave the floor. Allow your head to get heavy. And then come back around, switching sides, left knee high up toward your armpits. Finding breath, cross your right arm over to the left, twist open on the ground. And just pay attention. Are we getting into the nooks and crannies? Are you feeling like each part of your body is getting a moment to stretch open, to feel? And then come back around onto your belly. Come up onto all fours, moving the spine around. And one more time, lifting into a dog pose, feeling that extension and length. And then we're going to find our way onto our back. Feet on the ground, coming into reverse pigeon pose. Right foot on left knee. Let's open up our hip a little bit. You can hold wherever you like to hold. Behind the left hamstring, the front of the left shin. You can hold your right foot and right knee. Wherever your hands tend to land, which is helpful and supportive. Let your head get heavy. And as always, if you'd like to have a little rocking or movement within this, you can. Breathing deeply. Your feet come to a big star on the ground. Stretch your body wide, knees into your chest. And then put your right foot on the ground, left foot on right knee, and reach to wherever you're going to hold for this posture. You can hold your shin, your thigh, hand on the foot and hand on the knee. You can even be putting your right foot against something so you don't have to use your arms at all. Stillness, movement, whatever works. Make sure you're breathing deeply. Pay attention to anywhere that you're trying to compensate. So melt what you can. Even this through your pelvis. Shoulders and head are relaxed. All right. And then release your feet onto the ground and grab a block, one block. Okay. You might need two if you like to go super high for a supported bridge. So either put the block across your pelvis on the low or middle height or stack two blocks. Find your breath. All right, and then let's just be here for a moment. We are going to straighten our legs, but first just be here. You can put your hands on your pelvis and low belly or higher if you want. You can keep your hands on the ground. Let yourself connect into letting the breath have movement in your belly. So obviously our breath is in our lungs. But there's a lot of movement as we, change the shape of where our organs lay in our body. You can have your legs a little wider if you want. Just see what feels good. Try to breathe all the way down to the pelvic floor, to the pelvic bowl, to the deep low belly. Straighten either one leg at a time or both legs if your back is comfy. And your legs can be a little wider than your hips or in line with your hips, whatever feels good. We're just opening up gently into those hip flexors again. That psoas muscle deep in our belly, such a responder of stress. There's such an intimate connection to the fight or flight response, even if it's subtle. If we have an uptick of stress in our lives, our bodies feel it, right? So where's your body feeling it? And we're going to bring our feet back to neutral. Take a moment, you might need some adjustment. We're going to draw our knees toward the chest. Just let your low back open up after that little bit of a back bend. A little bit of traction here. And then we're going to lift the legs straight up in the air. Take this opportunity to let all the extra fluids, imagine that your cells are just draining all their extra fluids, everything we don't need, all the release of what's no longer needed in the body can drop down through our legs, back into the lymphatic ducts, right in our collarbones, kind of removing that extra lymph fluid back into the cardiovascular system to be removed. You know, it's such a beautiful design. Our lymph just picks up all the extra, everything that's being released from the cells that we no longer need gets put into that interstitial fluid and gets picked up by the lymph, brought back to the circulatory system so that our kidneys and our liver and our lungs and our digestive tract, all the ways we eliminate, can work, releasing what's no longer needed. So imagine that this is, you know, the headwaters of releasing what's no longer needed in our bodies, in our minds. Inversions and restorative poses all stimulate the organs of detoxification and release in the body. So let's enjoy giving our bodies a little bit of a boost. To lower our legs down, lift your hips up, get the block out of there. Maybe a little bit of windshield wipering left and right, maybe rolling to your side and having just a curled ball, maybe knees to chest. Kind of find your way out of that back bend. And then we're all going to find our way to our right side, and you need your smushy ball now. And I like the ball to be about half inflated, but everybody's a little different, so you can always adjust the inflation level. Grab a blanket from underneath your head. We're going to do 3 positions with this ball. So start with the ball kind of high under the armpit area of your lungs. Okay, I mean, not right in the armpit, but, you know, kind of touching the armpit. So you're high on the rib cage. I have a blanket under my head so that my neck can stay nice and neutral. I'm on my side, knees together. You can always put a pillow or something between your legs if you need it. Finding your breath here. All right, so once you settle onto the ball, let's take our left hand right at the top of our ribs, as high up toward our armpit as our mobility can manage. Take a deep breath in. Hold that inhale like a freeze frame. Hold your breath. And then exhale and let the hand on your ribs smush your ribs down toward the ball. Let's try that one more time. Inhale. Hold the freeze frame. And then exhale. And have a gentle push. We're trying to mush our ribs. And then relax your hand. You can rest your arm on your side, or you can bring your hand out in front of you onto the ground, whichever feels nourishing. Take a moment to just let your ribs receive the ball, to feel that your lungs can get a massage. This is a wonderful feedback loop for your nervous system. Melt your breath. If you're having a hard time, it could be that the ball is too inflated. I'll lower the ball now to our middle ribs, middle to bottom ribs, kind of, find if we were just in the top half, now we're in the bottom half. Okay. Same, hands on your ribs. Take a deep breath in. Hold for a moment. And then exhale. Ah, smush your ribs. Let your exhale get a little extensive. One more time. Freeze frame the inhale. Feel that hoop of your rib cage and then relax. Try to smush your ribs. Relax your arm at your side. Just have a moment to breathe. Again, if you feel uncomfortable, let a little more air out. Sometimes it takes a little, getting used to receiving a lung massage. It's not, think about when you get massage. Sometimes you have to have lighter touch, sometimes you have to have deeper touch, but it's all dependent on how much you're able to release and relax and let the body receive something. And the same with the ball. Our lungs are receiving this massage as we breathe. Long exhales. Then we're going to lower the ball when we're ready. Take your time. I always feel like I rush through this in class. When I do this alone, I do it much slower. So now the ball is in our side waist. And take a moment to kind of rock. We could have done this higher too. I kind of forgot. So maybe we'll do it on the other side. But you can rock a little forward, a little bit of back. So you can just kind of let this ball kind of dive into the psoas and the low back muscles a little bit. Again, if it's too inflated, sometimes this can be a little much. And then just relax and receive the ball. Where can your breath go? Out of there now. We're going to find our way to the second side. You might pause for a minute between the two sides and just notice the changing sensation. And then when you're ready, again, get comfortable. So support underneath your head. We want the ball on the top half of our lungs, armpit, upper lung area. And if you want to do a little rolling over the ball, getting used to like letting the body receive it. This is such a good thing. Not only does it stimulate the massage of our lung tissue, but we have a lot of fascia and a lot of, everything's kind of smushed in there pretty snug, including a lot of nerves. So let's take a moment to just let the nervous system receive this. And when you're ready, hand on your upper ribs, deep breath, freeze frame. And then exhale, melt into the ball. Let your ribs collapse down into that ball. One more time, a big voluminous breath. Freeze frame it, hold. And then melt into the ball. And put your arm wherever is comfortable for your body and just allow your body to receive. There's a lot of lymph, there's a lot of nerves, there's a lot of fascia, there's a lot of lungs, there's even that pericardial sac around your heart will receive a little message from this. So much of your body, if you can melt and relax and give your nervous system the feedback that you are safe and cared for, there's a lot of nourishment that can come from this. Make sure your breath is steady and long, nice long exhales. We'll lower the ball, bottom half of the ribs, kind of still at ribs. We're not in the side waist yet, okay, but we're a little bit lower. And sometimes it takes a little, like, being picky with where you're landing. You might inflate or deflate the ball, so you want to just get it right. Then you can do a little bit of rolling on that ball. Just let your tissues get used to the pressure. Full breaths here. And then once you're ready to be still, we're going to take the hand on the rib cage. Take a deep breath in. Freeze frame. And then exhale. Let all the ribs collapse into that ball. One more time, a voluminous breath. Inhale. Hold it for just a moment. Doesn't have to be long. And then exhale. And relax. And find your sweet spot. Let yourself breathe here. So much of the time when we feel stress, we hold our breath. Lots of times when that fight or flight is kind of slightly activated, we tend to have freezing a lot in our body. We don't let the breath go all the way in or all the way out. So we kind of shrink that capacity of the lung tissue. And doing this restores the elasticity, the volume nature of being able to have big, full lungs and fully empty lungs. All right, last position, ball is underneath the side waist. Okay. And again, you can rock a little bit to and from, left and right, just kind of feeling a little bit of that mobility, the massage. See if you can sense where your psoas is, and even that transverse abdominis and its attachments on the hip might get, on the pelvic bone might get a little bit of a massage. You might feel your deep low back muscles, your quadratus lumborum. And then when you're ready to be still, you can just rest here and receive the ball. So as you can sense from our practice today, everything was gentle. Nothing was like just pretty much nothing was just doing nothing, right? We're always, even when we're in a very restful position like this, we're always active in some way of paying attention to how our body's responding, to how we're feeling, how we're breathing, how we're melting. So even restorative poses are not absent-minded. They are mind-bodied. Let's go ahead and take that ball out of there. Two small little positions with the ball. We won't stay here long. Come onto your belly. Put it under your sternum now. So you just kind of have to find the comfortable place with your breasts. You might have more inflation or deflation. You might have it higher or lower. You might move. You might not move. You might try, kind of putting it right at the xiphoid process, like at the very top of the V of the ribs, where your sternum and your and it ends, that zygomatic process at the bottom little tip of your sternum. So just experiment. You can move a little bit if you want. Let your body breathe. All right, and then the last place for today, we're gonna place the ball. We could do this all over our whole bodies with this ball. Last place today is gonna be under the sacrum again. All right, so back into that bridge, ball under the sacrum. Have a moment. Arms can be out to the sides, legs can be a teeny bit wider so that you have a good sense of balance. You're not too wobbly. Let your full ribs breathe. Feel the melting of your pelvis. Get that block out of there. Grab your two, or get the ball out of there. Grab your two blocks. Supta Baddha Konasana on the ground with your back. Knees or upper thighs are supported by the blocks. Let your arms kind of go anywhere they want. They can be wide, they can be close, whatever feels good. And again, just like we did before, let your whole torso, pelvis, pelvic floor, belly, everything is open and free for breathing. You might feel the kind of remnants of that ball lung work we did. Let the full inflation and deflation happen of your lungs. Sometimes you can have a little bit of, 10 or 15 minutes of feeling a little, not sore, but tender or aware in your lung tissue after that massage, and that will dissipate. But try to keep the echoes of the spaciousness that you've created throughout the day. Hey, belly breath. Relax your bones. Offer yourself a little mantra. Maybe something like, I am safe, I am free, I am connected, whatever it is that you need. Bring our knees together, remove the blocks. Let's keep the knees together, a little bit of rocking. Maybe let your whole body kind of slosh left and then right. Maybe a happy baby, maybe a twist, whatever it is that you need. We'll come to rest in Shavasana. So as you finish your practice and you come into this restful pose, make sure that your props are not touching you so that you have some room. If you're cold, get warm. If you have lights on you, put something over your eyes. Let your body melt into the pose. Deep, full rest. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just be here now. The head rests.
As you start to breathe a little deeper, take a moment to just feel that deep sense of rest in the body, where you can melt all your bones, melt your skull, find your way into the breathing body. A full deep breath in, full exhale. And then eventually finding some movement here. And come to find your way onto your side. Maybe a little bit of a deep stretch is in order to kind of invigorate your body again. Maybe you just want to, stay right where you are and turn the computer or phone off so you can rest longer. So find your way up to a comfortable seat if you're joining me, us. Placing your palms together at your heart. Let's offer our prayers to anyone who feels isolated, separated, afraid, threatened. May we bring this global sense of peace and harmony. Can we bring our love and care to all peoples everywhere? Can we hold compassion as such a high truth of connection? Namaste. Thank you, everyone.